Hey YouTube, how's it going? As you can see from the thumbnail, I have this massive chunk of Gaboon ebony, and I'm going to try and figure out how to mill it up and use some of it for a project. And this project will be the 1,000 subscriber giveaway, and all you got to do to enter is just make a comment on my videos and subscribe, and in a few weeks I'll pick a name from all of those and you can win the bowl. So this thing is almost 22 inches long and it's a little bit oddly shaped. So on this end, that's kind of this triangular part. So this is the pith right here, and it's fairly decent size here, 11 inches across there, but this is almost a 90-degree angle here, so if I can get one of these faces on the table of my bandsaw, then I can take slices off the other side and kind of true it up. And it's also tapered, so the other end is quite a bit bigger. This is like 13 inches. And you can see the inside here, there's some cracks coming out from where the pith is. So hopefully this thing is not just a big mess of cracks and totally unusable, because it was quite a bit of money. So I think what I'm looking at initially is I want to take this side and put this down on the table and run it through my bandsaw here and cut it off, because as you can see, there's this hunk right here that's kind of just sticking out. So if I can chop that off first and get a nice clean edge here, I'll be able to see a little bit better how this whole thing is going to work out. And it's going to be a little bit of a challenge because the whole thing weighs about 60 pounds. So yeah, that's something I got to figure out here, and I'll bring you back when I've got it set up and ready to go on the bandsaw. All right, sports fans, here we go. Here's my jury-rigged sled. We got a fence over here, and it seems to balance okay, both on the input and the output, so I should be all right without any additional support. But we'll see how it goes. Don't try this at home, kids. All right, so here we can see cutoff, and it's not as black as I would expect it. It almost looks like Macassar ebony with the lighter streaks. I don't know if it's going to get darker in the middle, but still really pretty. Super happy that the cracks are not throughout. That's a really nice finish from the blade. The cracks from the end, the longest one only goes to right here. The rest of them are shorter, so there's still like tons of, and there's hardly anything over here. So all this is crack free so far, which is glorious. I didn't waste my money. So I think what I'm going to do, put the heavy boy aside for now. I'm going to take this guy and so it's kind of this little streamlined shape here. This tapers from really fat here, almost 3 inches. Which is that? Yeah, it's 3 inches at its widest. And down here it's just paper thin. And it's thicker on this side all the way down. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a straight line over here. Maybe something like that. And cut that off. And that way I'll have a semi-flat spot I can put on my bandsaw, and then I'll put that down and this against the fence, and then I can slice wider boards. And I think that would be a little more valuable way. I want to keep everything as big as I possibly can for as long as I possibly can, because the value in this wood goes up with how big a piece you can get. And I literally, in my entire woodworking career, 20 some years, I have never seen a piece this big, a full log like this. Most pieces are little tiny squares. So if I can keep this much larger, I can make bigger things out of it, and if somebody wanted to buy some of it, it would be a little more valuable to them as well, so they can make big things. So that's going to be the plan. We'll get that set up. All right, after some thinking and slicing up this other piece, this is the main log, and this is the piece I cut off, and I trimmed that down. Took off that big piece there. So I'll save this for a number of other projects. And this still has quite a bit of taper on it. So but what I really like is this section here has the really black wood with a nice kind of a lighter stripe down the middle, and the matching piece from the main log here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take the main log, flip it down, and get a straight edge over here or something. I'm going to cut this piece off and use that to make segments, and I'll use those segments to make a feature ring, and that will go on top of a mahogany base to make a somewhat shallow bowl with this feature rim along the top, and I think that would be really pretty cool. All right, so I have my piece of ebony all milled up here. In between there and there, I got 16 inches. I really like the black with this lighter grain. It's kind of in a curve. It's a little more pronounced on this side. Looks pretty cool. So my idea was to take this and turn it into segments and have that go all the way around the bowl. But I have to see what kind of segments I get from that. So that's 16 inches long, pi d, so 16 divided by pi is roughly 5 inches and change, or a little less than 5 inches, so that's a pretty small bowl. Okay, so here's the plan. I've got this bigger circle, that's going to be the very outer edge of the mahogany, and then I'm going to take the rest of this cut off, which I wouldn't really know what to do with, and I decided I'm going to make 1, 2, 3, 4 triangles, and then I'm going to glue them into a big square, and that'll go underneath here, and that will double the thickness of my blank here. So I'll have, instead of 1 3/4, I'll have 3.5 inches thick. And then my mahogany will, or my ebony will be a ring on top. And then I'll have that other thickness here. And then I'm going to do 3 little feet out of this piece of figured maple. So I think that's going to be pretty cool. Alright, I got it mounted up on the lathe. I may actually wait till tomorrow to start turning, just to let this glue dry a little bit more before I start cranking on it. Originally I was going to grab it with my jaws here, but this is 4.5 inches and my biggest jaws are only 3.5. So it made it really awkward to do that, and it wasn't 100% centered and stuff. So I decided to mount it between centers. I know exactly where the centers are because I had them punched on both sides here. And then I just kind of jockeyed it around until I had the front end, the very rim is even, the transition is even, and the bottom is even. That way I know that if, at a minimum, whether I'm centered or not, this each layer will be perpendicular to the axis of the bowl. So that's going to be really important to make sure everything looks nice. So anyway, we'll get it rolling here in just a second. Your time. Alright, it's the next day. Finally ready to do some turning here. Got a freshly sharpened 5/8 inch bowl gouge, 55-degree bevel, swept back. I'm going to make a 10 in here first, and then we'll flip it around and make a way to grip the inside a little better than just between centers. And then we'll get this thing shaped up. I'm going to use my carbide cutter here to just nibble away at this and make a small recess. This is where I'm going to put the lid anyway, and I don't have much room here to play with since the blank that I have for the lid is only about 4 1/4 and this is just barely 4. So I have to just make a tiny lip here for that lid to sit on. Hopefully I don't mess it up. Alright, I got it flipped around. Recess was the perfect size and just the right size for the lid. And I'm still going to use tailstock support as I shape this here. I'm just going to bring this up, curve the mahogany up until this white line, and then from there inward I'm going to curve it back in towards the middle, so it'll be kind of a flying saucer shape there. And then this, I'm not really sure whether I'm going to incorporate it or not. If I do, it'll probably just be a small foot, I think. As you can see here, when you get a good cut, it's like glass, but if the grain is not in your favor, it's a very brittle wood. And right here I had a crack I had to fill in the piece of lumber that I used to make the segment, so I'm going to have to turn past that anyway, so I'll just keep going there a little bit. And that blue line came out really nice. It's going to look cool. Looks really nice. Let me just blend this in here a little bit. I may do a little OJ into this foot and keep this foot and turn this off. I think that'll look pretty cool. There's a little bit of a gap in that glue joint there, which is unfortunate. One thing you may have noticed when I was cutting the ebony, the dust coming off of there is exceptionally fine. And even when I did the segment cutting, I collected all the sawdust that was left on my table saw top in a little bucket, and it's really ideal with CA to do filling because it's actually wood and not some other random product with the CA, so you can get a really black line, but that's probably what I'll do to fill that. So I'll work on this foot transition area here a little bit. Use my 1/2 inch full gouge with a little finer grind on it for that detail. I think I'm going to turn a recess for my smaller jaws, for my medium-sized jaws here. That way I can completely finish the bottom and I won't have to flip it over again once I finish the inside. So that's what we're going to do. Here's my dovetail tool. Alright, set it up to 400 grit. We'll take a look with a little bit of alcohol here, clean out the grit, and see what the finish is going to look like. Wow. That's good. Fantastic. Love it. Alright, we'll let that dry off and then we'll come back and put some finish on. Alright, we're all ready to go. I think I'm just going to use some sanding sealer, some shellac, and then polish it up. Just the smoothness of the ebony is just so amazing. I don't want to have like a film on it, so this should work out pretty nicely. That's nice. Alright, a couple coats of that. We'll come back for the polishing paste. Got the shellac on. Now we're going to use a little Yorkshire grit and polish it up a little bit. That looks good. And the chatoyance there in the mahogany. Love that. I'm going to use the fine, bring that sheen up a little bit more. Love it. About ready to turn this bad boy around and hollow it out. Alright, so I'm going to hollow this bad boy out. First of all, I'm going to round this over and bring it kind of to a dome up to right here. And my plan was to leave this as a rim for a lid to sit on. That means I'm going to have to undercut this, kind of hollow that. I don't know, I'm not really sure if that's going to work out. We'll see how it goes. Yeah, it looks cool. I'm having to cut so shallow. Each pass is probably a 32nd of an inch. For sure less than a 16th of an inch or less than a millimeter. As soon as I start to go any more than that, I get a little bit, tiny bit of tear out, like right there. And the force I need on the tool becomes much higher. But if you cut nice and easy and nice and slow, it's good. I just need to clean that up. Actually, now that I look at this, I kind of created a little bit of a scoop here. I was originally going to go for a dome, but I kind of like this scooped. I may actually exaggerate that a little bit. I think that's pretty cool. Yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I like that. Alright. Beautiful. Oh, I love that. Leave enough meat here for this to sit on, and then cut back that way a little bit. I want to leave the bowl actually pretty thick, because the ebony is so dense and this layer is so thick that the top is it's pretty heavy. So if I don't go for a thick wall, it's going to be very top heavy. So I'm intentionally going to leave this pretty thick, not this thick, but I'm going to go in. I'm going to leave quite a bit of mahogany under the bottom there, just to leave a little more mass, so that the bowl is not tippy when it's done. All right, I'm going to try this Trent Bosch hollowing tool I bought a while ago. I'm going to try this gooseneck one to try and get underneath there. I've never used this before, so hopefully I don't destroy the bowl trying to do this. I really just want to get a little bit of this material out of right here behind the white line, so that still leaves me a little lip for the lid if I can make that work. So I'm just going to go in a little bit here and then hollow a little bit down here, and hopefully I'm good. I have the straight part on the rest, so that's in line with the cutter tip. So I should be good here. We'll see. Tiny bit more, and then I think I'll curve it down to the bottom. It's looking really nice. I've never done any kind of hollow form or even a bowl this undercut before, so this is all new territory for me. It's been going pretty well so far. Just gotta go slow. That ebony is so hard, I just don't want to push the tool. I think I'm going to switch to my woodpecker carbide to get more to the bottom there. I think that'll give me a smoother finish. The mahogany tends to tear out and get really fuzzy, so let's see if I can improve that a little bit. Oh yeah, there we go. Look at that. Perfect. Woohoo! Alright, sanding all done. That went really fast. We used a scraper on this outer edge, and I almost didn't need to sand it. I did anyway, all the way up to 400, but so let's take a look at the finish. Wow, that looks amazing. Alright, welcome back everybody. Have a brief interlude where I tried to turn a lid from that piece I had glued up, and it was just too small and I couldn't actually get it the right size for the opening, so I had to dig up another piece of mahogany. This is a leftover from a desk that I made for my home office 10 plus years ago, but as you can see, it's got some nice mahogany color, and I'm going to turn the lid out of this piece here. So first I'm going to put it between centers and true it up, and then hopefully get it the right size of the top of the bowl this time. Alright, here we go. There we go. That's what I want. Nice. It's good. Now I can finish the shaping. Probably sand up this inside first, then I'll flip it around and do the top. Alright, inside is all finished. I don't know if I like that. Kind of have this concave deal on the ebony. Yeah, I should continue that up. I think I'll do that. Alright, so what I'm going to do, I think this is good. I just need to sand that. This is the 10 I was using to grab. What I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure this is good and flat, and work on the finial, and then I'll round this over once that's done and kind of final shape that, and see what it looks like when we're done with it. So onto the finial. Alright, gnarly piece of cut off ebony there. There's a lot of extra material here. Hopefully I can bring it down to something that will work. We'll see. It may just be trash, who knows. Alright, crack goes pretty far. I think I can use this, but I think I'm going to have to glue it to the lid first. Otherwise I'm not going to be able to hold it. I don't have any jaws that are this small. So if I try and part this off or anything, get this flat, it's just not going to work because I'm going to need the tailstock. So I'll let this dry for a little bit longer, and then I'm going to drill a small hole in the lid to accept the tenon here. Then I'll put this back on, turn the tenon, glue that, and then finish the turning of this once that's dry. Alright, finally, I put a little shellac sanding sealer on. Do several coats of this and then buff with some abrasive paste and polishing paste. Mahogany is super dry, so it's going to take quite a lot. Nice contrast. Alright, I'll bring you back for the final reveal. So here is the finished bowl. Maple bottom with mahogany and ebony segmented ring, then a mahogany lid with the ebony finial. You can see how it fits really nicely like that. And I think it came out really nice. There's some nicer pictures at the end. Please take a look at those. And now to enter, what you have to do is leave a comment on this video or any of my previous 4 videos. And on December 31st, that will be when the entries end. And on January 1st, 2025, I will pick a name from people who commented on those videos and let you know that you won the bowl. I'll ship it anywhere in the world, free, as long as I'm allowed to ship to your location from the US. There are some places I can't ship, apparently. So anyway, hopefully you enter and you win, and I really appreciate you watching. This YouTube journey has been pretty fun. It's been interesting. I retired from teaching last year, and this whole idea came from pandemic teaching. I was a physics and math and engineering teacher in high school, and during the pandemic, when I had video lessons, it got kind of repetitive and boring every day. So at the end of my lessons, I would say, hey, if you enjoyed the content, smack that like button. Please like and subscribe. And if you enjoyed the content, it kind of became this joke with my students. And my students kind of laughed, but they said, you know what? You should totally create a YouTube channel when you retire. And so that planted the idea. And that's kind of what I decided to do. I was going to be a woodworker when I retired, just to have fun and enjoy life. But I thought, you know what? I can just sit here by myself in my garage, or I could make a video while I'm doing it anyway and just share it with the world. So that's what I've done, and hopefully you've enjoyed it, and I've improved and made interesting and fun videos for you. And if that's true, hey, I appreciate it, and I hope you continue watching, and I hope that I can continue to improve and make really fun videos for you to watch. So again, thank you so much for watching, and good luck with the bowl.